Hello pattern lovers, you're welcome to yet another exciting tutorial, and today's video will be a detailed tutorial on how to go about Queen Anne neckline. It's trending now, and this particular one caught my attention because it's so stylish and comes with a twist. So if you want to know how I drafted this from the beginning to the end, kindly watch this video to the very end, and let's get right into it. So here I have my pattern paper ready, and I created a space for the front and then the back, and we'll start with the front. The first thing I'll do is to divide the shoulder measurement by 2, then I'll go down to the armhole length, and I want to use 9 inches as the armhole length. I'll mark the shoulder measurement divided by 2 again on that point, just to have a straight line, and I'll do the same thing on this other end. Then after this, I'll do the same thing for the back. I just want to do the armhole for the back yet. Then we'll focus on the front. Now, I'll start from this top line here, the shoulder line, and go down to the bust point, under bust, waistline, and then we have the full length line there. So I'm using 10.5 as the bust point, 14.5 as the under bust, and 17.5 as the waistline. I'll just go ahead and mark it here and roll it out. To make life very easy for you anytime you want to draft a blouse, especially if you're a beginner, just measure from your shoulder measurement to your hip line. Then that will be your full length yet. Then when you are done with your dart and all of that, you can now start from your waistline to go down to where you want the blouse to be. It will be easier for you that way, and that way the measurement is accurate. Don't worry, we'll get to that in this video, but for now, let's proceed. To get the shoulder slope, I'm going to impute the standard neckline measurement of 3 by 3, but I'll just mark 3 as the width. Then I'll mark my shoulder slope of 1.5 for the front. The front will be 1.5. Then later I'll do 1 inch for the back. Now I'll come to this full length here and mark the bust span, nipple to nipple. I'll mark it on the bust point area and just connect it like so. Then for the dart on the waistline, I'm going to mark 0.75 on both sides, making it 1.5 for the dart. Then I'll just connect it like this to the down part. I'll just extend that line to the full length like so. Now to tighten the under bust, I don't want to have plenty lines. That's why I did not connect the dart all the way to the top. So I want to use 2.2 to tighten the under bust, and you can decide to share the 2.2 on both sides. Note that 2.2 is not standard. I want to use 2.2 for this person. So to share it is going to be 1.1 on both sides, or you can decide to do 1.25 on the side and then 1 inch on the center. But I did the same thing on both sides. Then I'll just curve it to the bust point like that, and then extend the dart leg to the waistline like so. It's as simple as that. This way you don't have plenty lines. Next thing I'll do is to go ahead and get the over bust line, and I'm going up 3.5 from the bust point. You can also go up 1.5 from your armhole line. That your armhole line there, you go up 1.5, or you can just go up 3 inches or 3.5 from the bust point. Now I'll come to this shoulder slope here and measure what I have from the shoulder tip to the neck point and divide it by 2. Then I'll connect it to the bust point just like this to meet the other dart that we have there. Now to tighten the over bust, I want to use 1.5, so I will share 0.75 on both dart line. I'll just mark 0.75 on both sides, then I'll curve it to the bust point just like this. You can see how I placed the curve. Go ahead and do the same thing. Then I'm going to measure from the shoulder slope to the armhole line and divide whatever I have there by 2. Then I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch. I'll use the straight part of this curve to connect it like so. Then I'll do my bust measurement by 4. I'll mark it here. It's 40 divided by 4, which is 10, plus 1/2 inch for ease. I usually add 1/2 inch to the front part, especially if it's a bustier. Then on the waistline, I'll just mark the waist measurement divided by 4 plus the 1.5 we use for that. Then on this full length here, I just impute her hip measurement divided by 4. There's no ease on the hip line, okay? And now I can be able to complete the armhole curve. I'll just curve it from this point to the bust measurement. Now for the over bust tightening, I used 1.5 and I'm going to add 0.75 from this existing armhole line here. I'll add 0.75, then I will extend this line to meet that 0.75. If you use 2 inches as your over bust tightening, add 1 inch there. Okay, now to extend this dart that we have as the over bust, I'm just going to connect it like this to the shoulder slope, like so. Just pivot it like this. It's as simple as that. And that would also serve as gaping darts for your neckline. Now I'm going to redraw the armhole. I'll start from this shoulder tip here and curve the armhole, making sure it meets that 0.75 I have there. Then I'll clean up the previous one, just so we know what you're going for. Then I'll start from this over bust line. I'm come down by 1.5. You can also start from the shoulder line to go down how low you want the neckline to be. The next thing I'll do now is to screw the dart, and to do that I'll measure what I have on this side front here. Then I'll do the same thing here, and it's always shorter on the center front. I will mark exactly what I have on the other side and make sure I have my 0.75 over bust tightening on that part that I extended. Okay, then I'll come from that point. I'll curve it to meet the 1.5 I came down from the over bust line. Can you see that shape? Give it that sweeter shape. If you want V, you can also do V. Then on this armhole line, I'll come in by 2 inches. You can do 1 inch or 1.5 depending on how wide you want your neckline to be. Then for the neck width, I use 2.5. 2.5 works just fine. Then I'll connect from the 2.5 neck width to the 2 inches I came in from the armhole curve. Okay, that's just it. The next thing we'll do on this neckline will be after blending in or closing the darts. While drafting the back, I'll show you how to do the regular Queen Anne neckline. And just before I forget, I'll come down here by ½ inch on this neckline width. I'll come in ½ inch, and that would make it very firm on your neckline. It doesn't have to gape after joining your shoulder, and it will also make joining the shoulder very smooth for you. Then I'll do the bust dart of 2 inches. The difference between her front length and back length is 2 inches. So I'll measure from the bust point down, 2 inches down. Then I'll just slant it to meet the bust point like this. And that's the bust dart. Now if you don't want it straight like this, you can just come up on this side here, just ½ inch, and then just curve it like that. But we'll come back to that later. Okay, now I'll start from the waistline and go down to how long I want the blouse to be, and I'm measuring just 6 inches from the waistline. I'll come to the side and go up by 3 or 4 inches. You can also start from the waistline again on the side to come down to how low you want it to be on your waistline, and that's it. So as I was trying to explain in the beginning of this video, you draft your pattern to go down to your hip line so that you put your hip measurement there, and when you start from your waistline to go down to how low you want the blouse to be, you don't have to worry about the circumference of that point. You already have your hip measurement, and that's just your body shape. Whatever curve you have from your waistline down to where you want the blouse to be, it automatically follows your body shape. I hope you understand that. Instead of you worrying your head on how do I go about measuring the circumference of that point, just go ahead and draft your pattern to go down to the hip line. So go ahead and get your desired length from your waistline, and if it's a straight blouse, 6 inches is just fine from your natural waistline. So for the back, I'll just start from the shoulder line to go down to the waistline for the back. Remember, it will be 2 inches shorter, and also mark the full length for the back. The back is just going to be 2 inches shorter from the front. You can just measure the whole length you have for the front, and then minus 2 inches and mark that as the full length for the back. And all of this is if your front and back length is not the same. This person, just like I said, is 2 inches difference. You can see it, and that's the 2 inches we use as the bust dart. The next thing I'll do is to come to the waistline on the center back and come in 0.75. You can also do 1 inch. Then I'll come down 3 inches on the neckline and just slant it like this. Just contour your center back like this because the back is not straight. It's this shape. Just try to give your pattern this shape. Then to get the shoulder slope, I'll just mark 3 inches as the neck width and come in on the shoulder armhole line 1 inch and slant it like that, and that would be the shoulder slope. Next, I'll measure what I have on this point and divide it by 2 and go in by 0.25. Can you see that? And that way you tighten the chest line for the back. Now start from this your center back contour line and get your bust measurement divided by 4 so that you can curve your armhole to that point. It's as simple as that. Then we are going to do the dart, and to do that I'll start from this new line, this new center back line, and mark 4 inches, which is the nipple to nipple measurement of this person. Then I'll try to get a straight line for both the upper part and then the down part. So I measured 6 inches upward from the waistline, and that would be the dart length for the upper part. Then it's just going to be the same length with the full length. On both sides of that line, I'm going to I marked ½ inch on both sides. Then I'm going to give it this dart shape like this. Extend the dart to the upper part and the down part just like this. Then I already have my bust measurement. I'll go ahead and do the waist measurement. Starting from the center back contour line, I'll mark the waist measurement divided by 4 plus the 1 inch we used for that. Then I'll measure what I have on this front part here. This is very important. On the full length for the front, measure what you have there and mark the same thing on the back part. It's as simple as that. So this curve placement is optional, but it's actually recommended so that it follows the shape of your body. Next, I'll come to the front and measure what I have from the waistline to where the curve of the blouse starts, and then I'll mark the same thing on the back. Then you can just decide to just connect this straight. Just mark a straight line on the back if you want, or you can also do the same shape you have for the front. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to have the same thing I have for the front. So I'll just curve it like this to meet the center back. Then I promise to show you how to go about the regular Queen N neckline. For most Queen N neckline, you can just come down ½ inch, 1 inch or 1.5 at the back, and then do 2.5 as the neck width. But personally, I like having the same thing I have on the front neckline as the back neckline when I'm doing Queen N neckline. Or I can also do V or square shape, but I don't like having just turtleneck at the back. So for the neck depth, I marked 8.5. Then I'll come to this point here, this other side, and mark 6 inches. You can also mark 6.5. Then from the armhole curve, I'm going to come in 2 inches, just like I did for the front part. Then I'll connect from the 2.5 neck width to that 6 inches. Then I'll give it a sweetheart shape to meet the 8.5 neck depth. Like I said before, you can also do V, just connect it to be V. You can also do sweetheart, but sweetheart is actually quite popular. So just go ahead and give it a sweetheart shape and make sure you have the neck depth on your new center back line. That's a line that we contoured. Just make sure you have the neck depth. So after that, I'll follow the same shape I have on the center back and add my zipper allowance. I like adding zipper allowance on the pattern because I might forget if I want to do it while transferring the pattern to the fabric. So just follow the same shape you have on the pattern paper here on the center back and add your zipper allowance. And we are pretty much done. We are done with the back pattern, so I'll just go ahead and cut it out. To do that, I will separate the front and back pattern like so. Just go ahead and separate it so that it's easier for you to cut it out and know where you're cutting. Now on this neck tip, I'm going to come in 0.25 and then redraw the shoulder slope. This is important not only for this kind of neckline, for any wide neckline you're doing. Tighten the neckline so that it will not gape. And for the dart, you can decide to close it on the pattern, or you can also decide not to add that depending on the kind of fabric you're using. And you can also decide to do it the same way I'm doing it. Divide your shoulder slope by 2 and connect it to meet the dart, and that way you cut through the dart and you will have to join it, have the same shape we have for the front. And I'm going for this particular option. So if you don't want to add the dart, just go ahead and remove that dart allowance you added on the side like this. Can you see what I'm doing? Just connect it to the full length. Then you will now go ahead and do the back curve again make sure you have the same thing you have on the front. If you're going for the same shape you have on the front, okay, and also through your dart so that you don't have any shortage while joining that part. So this is if you don't want to sew the dart, but I want to sew the dart, so I'll be cutting through the dart. Now watch how I'm going to cut and where I'm going to cut on these patterns. Oops, I cut I cut out the wrong line, so I'll tape it down again and then cut it right. Now to cut the front, the first thing I'll do is to slash open the dart to the bust point so that I can be able to close the bust dart. Just go ahead and cut it open like this and stop on the bust point. Then you're going to fold the bust dart and close it like this. Can you see that? Place it on the bust line, then you're going to tape it down with your tape, any tape of your choice. Just can also use gum on that point. Then after that, you're going to blend in this side seam line. Blend it in from the bust to the waist like that, so that you have something like that. Then I'll just go ahead and cut. Just watch what I'm going to cut before we do finish up the neckline. Always remember to notch the vital part on your pattern so that it will be easier for you to notch it on your fabric. Now you're going to close this dart here. You're going to close it the same way you see me do it, and then you're going to tape it down. Now to complete the neckline, I'm going to mark the 2.5 here just to highlight it. Then I'm going to connect it again to that 2 inches I came in from the armhole curve, just like this. Now to do the slanted part of the neckline, you're going to measure what you have on this point and divide it by 2. It's as simple as that. Divide it by 2, then you're going to come in on this part, come in 1/2 inch, and then you're going to use your curve. Just notice how I'm placing this curve. Place it the same way. Curve it from that 1/2 inch to the length of the neckline on the side, and then you're going to connect it again, curve it again to meet the neck width. Then give it this curve here. It's as simple as that. Don't forget to blend in the shoulder slope just to make it more visible for you. After throwing your dart or closing the dart, the shoulder slope will shift. Just go ahead and blend it in again to make it look like what you want, and cut all the part that you need to cut out. So after that, this is what I have. Can you see that? So it's going to look like this when you're done joining it, and it's going to be so fine, just as you can see it already. When you draft your pattern right, you know how your dress is going to come out, or your outfit is going to come out. And this is the back pattern. And when placed together, you now see that the waistline is now the same. When drafting, the front is longer, but now it's the same. So you're going to transfer all this pattern to your fabric, add all the necessary allowance, your desired allowance on the side seam, and then 1/2 inch joining allowance on every other side, and happy sewing. This will be the end of our tutorial today. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this and if you love me to draft any other style, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.